Have you ever seen a cigar-shaped flying object in the sky? Would you say it could have been an optical illusion? Plus, if it was about a kilometer long? And I even know what you're thinking. A bunch of fake videos have bombarded us, and they're all waiting to be debunked. You're on the Top Facts channel, and we have a collection of credible video facts of cylindrical-shaped flying objects. Let's call them flying cigars. These stories are filmed by eyewitnesses and have been moderated online. They have become popular to the point where it is already a shame not to know about some unidentified objects that visit the Earth. Let's watch the stories. They prove that alien visitors have already mastered our skies. Let's go after the aliens. Since we're talking about cigar-shaped UFOs today, let's start with a video that was recorded by an airplane passenger in the UK. His attention was caught by a glint in the air, and then the miracles began. The cigar in the sky began to change positions so quickly as if it was not flying, but teleporting. Try to explain. Up close, the object appears transparent, but as it moves, we see a cylinder. How is this even possible? I'd like to hear a word or two about this from official sources. We can't deny the video exists, and neither can a fantastically flying cigar. Another testimonial, this time from Spain, perhaps the clearest image of a cigar UFO yet. After many reports of a similar flying object, one patient searcher finally managed to capture it. Just look at how it is arranged. Now we can debunk the idea of hoaxes. Such objects have appeared many times in different parts of the planet. The cylinder stayed in front of the camera for a few minutes and began to descend vertically. The video cuts off at the most interesting point, but we've already got enough evidence, haven't we? This video was taken in 2020 over Hungary. Thanks to the high-quality cameras of several drones, we can follow the journey of a cylindrical-shaped flying object. The size, color, and configuration allow us to say that this is not a gadget and not an aircraft of terrestrial origin. Any technique leaves behind a trail of spent fuel, and this cigar flew absolutely clean and silent. And like in a good movie, it developed fantastic speed, abruptly changed trajectory, and disappeared from sight. Really, let's think about it. How fast does it have to be to travel the distance between galaxies? This pilot had to prove his qualifications in a very unusual way. He captured a UFO passing by him on a flight. It may be the best UFO footage you've ever seen and the most challenging proficiency test for a pilot. The bright silver disc circled around the airplane quite calmly and decided to finally crush its nerves when it headed straight under the craft. Its maneuvers are incomprehensible to us, but we managed to see the saucer in all its glory 100%, sparkling like new silver. Another UFO was filmed from an airplane. In the sky over Kansas, it crossed the route of a passenger flight. Since both objects were in motion, we can compare how much faster the unidentified white box was flying. Not all passengers could observe the flying marvel, but it's unlikely it was a drone or some other tracking device. A spy? Maybe, but not an Earth spy. What's your theory? Now, isn't that the most perfect UFO you've ever seen? It glides over the clouds as if it were an everyday occurrence. The people in the airplane flying by were frozen with terror. Whoever captured the video must have been shocked himself. If you include elementary logic, you will agree. Here, we see not an airship and certainly not a balloon. The shape of this object reminds us of a double cone or a typical image of alien ships. We can only thank the passenger who did not lose his senses, but recorded for us the proof of daytime flights of UFOs on air routes. Maybe they have their own flight schedules too? Passengers aboard a flight from Denver noticed a strange object that looked like a sheet of plastic. It was floating parallel to the plane's movement, And if you think that's what garbage might look like, you're wrong. At an altitude of 10,000 meters, plywood doesn't fly, much less move at the speed of an airplane. Another surprising thing is that in a few seconds, the object changed its shape. It seemed to be completely flat. Maybe the leaf was following the air trail of another airplane, carried away by the powerful flow of the air tail. But then, I don't understand how the transformation works, this shape-shifting trick. What do you think of it? More and more pilots are sharing stories of strange objects they encounter in the sky during their flights and capturing them on video. Here's another amazing story. Before you ask how it was filmed, I will say, the camera was mounted on the fuselage. The UFO acted as if it was also inspecting the airplane, which explains its constant presence in the frame. But if you remember that both objects were in flight at a tremendous speed, it's not like they were hanging in the sky. Then imagine that the UFO had to drive the airplane like a fighter jet. Suddenly, the scene is interrupted by some interference. It is unclear what appeared in the sky, but it looks like a trickery on the part of the UFO. It's as if it's used a distraction, like a squid throwing out an ink cloud to make a quick getaway. There's a legend that there's some sort of mothership, a huge alien station. But has anyone seen it in real life? Look at what the helicopter crew managed to capture in the night sky. No matter how you look at it, it's clear that this ship is not of our making. Again, the thought of an airship arose, but the speed at which this luminous object was moving was never dreamed of by aircraft of 20th century invention. A modern helicopter could not keep up with it. You can also cite the government's secret experiments. They have the money to do it, after all. But is it so hard to reconcile with the assumption that there is other life beyond Earth? Imagine you're driving down the highway at high speed and an obscure cylindrical-shaped object flies parallel to you in the sky. It turns out you're rushing in the same direction. This is exactly what happened in 2020 in Florida, and it's safe to say that most people didn't even know what was going on around them. Remember, at the time, many were on lockdown in their homes. That's why the story was not taken seriously. One comment about the blimp and the same flat jokes, zero, that's all that the clip was rewarded with on the net. And if you imagine the scale of the incident, while you and I were sitting in apartments during the pandemic, the crowds of UFOs were moving freely across our expanses. 10 years ago, someone uploaded a video of a mysterious cylindrical object in the Ukrainian town of Korostan. The streak appeared in the sky in front of numerous witnesses, but only one person managed to make a quality video. Some speculated that it could have been a small airplane with a banner, but the object seemed solid and did not streak in the wind. Not much can be said about its true shape based on this footage. Any disc flying parallel to the horizon visually appears to be a flat strip. Before us is a terrifying video of yet another cigar UFO. It meticulously explores a Russian factory. The object looks like a well-developed military aviation, but it's not so easy for a foreign spy to sneak into Russian territory. It is quite reasonable to assume that the alien ship managed to do so. And if you look closely, you can see that its configuration seems to be divided into compartments. The eyewitnesses are also nervous. It's the first time they've seen such a device above the factory, and it's frightening, especially its lightning-fast disappearance. On February 18, 2024, residents of a place called Lucca in Italy reported seeing a cylindrical object in the sky. The thing hovered over the town, and one lucky resident captured the cylinder on camera, hence the aptly named UFO cigar. Opinions, as always, divided on realistic. Pranks, special services, and fantastic, the visit of aliens. One thing brings the opposite hypotheses together. It is espionage. The only question is who is the author of the project, earthly governments or beyond civilizations. What do you think? Feel free to share. That's what the comment section is for. A strange object was seen hovering over New Zealand, and it certainly raised several theories. Some thought it was a secret plane created by intelligence agencies and not yet made public. Others believed it was a giant drone, but sometimes what happens simply has no explanation. An object that looks like an obelisk moves through the air and even hovers in defiance of gravity. Could it even be a glitch in the Matrix or someone's skillful fake? This UFO was caught on camera somewhere in Russia and attracted a lot of attention on the internet. At first, most skeptical people wrote it off as a drone. Allegedly, someone decided to make it look like a UFO and dressed it up with a special design. But the more we see, the clearer it becomes that the design contains no propellers or other engines. What does it actually fly on then? Plus, the object is critically low to the ground and behaves as if it's struggling to stay airborne. And this is happening in broad daylight. What if the UFO was damaged and on the verge of crashing? There's no ending to the video. This strange creature was flying over Brazil and was caught on camera by an eyewitness. It looks like a figure in a suit with a jetpack, but we would have been speculating for a long time if the following hadn't happened. Suddenly, flames erupted and the creature or object disappeared lightning fast over the mountains. We are left to wonder what kind of miracle technique allows us to move in space like that. And also, is it someone or something after all? The ring glowing in the hazy sky really does look like the bottom of a spaceship about to land, doesn't it? The footage is recorded in China. A man just went to get groceries and found a real threat to the planet in the sky. The giant halo hung in the sky for a long time, confusing the citizens. They hypothesized that this could be the appearance of an experimental secret airship or a meteorological phenomenon. But no explanation was never given in the media. Do you think it's an optical illusion or the real outline of something unknown to us? Have you seen triangular clouds? I haven't, and neither did this man. He started recording video after he looked out of his window and saw this thing in the sky. Sticking out of the water like a shark fin, the triangular-shaped object was stuck in a cloud and hovering motionless. It was clear that it was neither a fog blob nor a banner in the air. Such outlines, by the way, and previously noticed in many places in the world. But so clear they were filmed for the first time. Could this be an alien station which is camouflaged in the clouds? If so, imagine how big this thing can get. In 2009, a man claimed to have seen a UFO in the skies over Italy. No one took the claim seriously until 10 years later when another eyewitness in the area managed to capture video. The object, which looked like two aluminum plates stacked together, hovered slowly overhead like a hiker lost above a forest. It floated slowly, difficult to track from behind the trees, but it would reappear in the gray sky. Usually, the most spectacular moment is considered the sudden disappearance of such flyers, as if someone blew him off or erased from the screen. By the way, the speed is the reason for distrust of similar videos. This effect is easy to fake in the editor. It's gone. But at least we have a long story to analyze. In 2013, a passenger on an airplane flying over Atlanta spotted a group of 3 lights. And in the 10 years that the video has been online, it hasn't sparked any attacks or controversy. The trio was moving in a strange rhythm, as if their aerial dance was planned. You'll agree, it's not like ball lightning or drones. They don't fly at that altitude. I thought already, that it was a trick of reflecting in the porthole some light from inside the cabin, but I couldn't think of what could have been a glowing triangle in the airplane. I'd have to accept that they were unknown lights that moved with a set trajectory and traveled through the air on the flight path. In one country alone, people have seen UFOs numerous times this year. A huge number of reports of different flying devices and objects have come from the United States. Now, we're going to take a look at one clip taken at dusk. The UFOs have already turned on their dipped lights, and there was a feeling that they were also looking for a convenient parking spot. A yachtsman spotted a fleet of bright lights over the coast of North Carolina in the USA. It was something mysterious, clearly not a group of flares. The lights huddled together and hung in the air like a garland in the sky in the middle of the ocean. Yes, the Eyewitness was quite far from shore, and the lights stayed there for a long time. There is no one to ask in such a place, you understand, and it is unlikely that anyone would explain such a phenomenon. A few months ago, passengers on a flight to the US anonymously posted this video. In the night sky suddenly appeared a bright flash, which scared everyone half to death. They were sure that in front of them aliens in an aggressive mood. Assuming that at that moment a rocket was launched into the sky nearby, it sounds absurd. Spaceports are outside the flight zones of civil aviation, and certainly no rocket would fly into the space where airplanes could be. I would rather believe that it was the launch of an alien ship before a long expedition. When something brightly colored flies by a pilot quickly, he will willy-nilly switch his focus of attention from his airplane to the distracting object. In this video, a brightly colored UFO whizzed by the plane and suddenly went aloft at an incredible speed, leaving us puzzled. Maybe the aliens urgently needed to get home. Did they forget to turn off some dangerous devices? Why the rush? New Jersey residents recently filmed a UFO hovering over the city. We can see not footage from the sky, which is easier to fabricate, but a real city street with people and cars, and a saucer-shaped UFO hanging in the sky, the center of which is brightly lit with lights of incredible power. It looked like it was viewing the neighborhood, and this light was for something. People were scared. What if it was an open hatch through which something could be taken from Earth? Then the light went out. I guess everyone exhaled a bit, but the video is interrupted for unknown reasons. Would you have stood there until the last and waited for further action? Or would you have decided to make a hasty retreat before anything happened? In 2008, citizens of Turkey captured a giant UFO flying overhead. Someone even managed to zoom in on the image and make this story for us. That this is definitely a UFO, I will not assure you, because there is no doubt. In most cases, UFO sightings are blurry, but here we can easily distinguish the hull and, with a little magnification, even peek into the lighted interior. Although we can't tell what's inside, it really is beautiful. We can fantasize about who is in there and what the interior of a perfect ship looks like. I don't know who could have expected an entire fleet of UFOs to fly over his head. This happened just a few weeks ago in Florida, and naturally, it scared a lot of people. Although many did not believe in the reality of this video, wrote that someone applied computer graphics. But it's natural to doubt the unbelievable. One thing puzzled me. If this really happened, wouldn't it have made the world news? It's not every day you see a flotilla of alien ships flying by so beautifully at sunset. It's not easy to scare the Russians, but this strange object seems to have managed to put a group of people in a stupor. At first they saw an incomprehensible structure hanging from the sky, from which soon smoke began to come out, and the shape began to change. The mysterious object opened its arms and began to expand. People thought that the UFO was trying to signal other ships in the area in this way. Maybe it was shot down? I don't know what it is, but perhaps you have a theory. In 2022, residents of Pakistan noticed something black in the sky above Islamabad. The mysterious object was caught on cameras by several dozen eyewitnesses. For 13 minutes, the UFO hovered in the air and was clearly recognizable as a dark flying object shaped like a truffle. Most people were sure that it was not a drone because it would not have been possible for the device to stay at such an altitude for long. Looking at the enlarged image, we can state that the UFO had a triangular shape, and also intuition. As soon as there were too many witnesses, the object simply disappeared from view. We're still in Pakistan. A team of pilots aboard a small airplane recorded a mysterious white ball. It could have been mistaken for the moon, but the bright object was moving, and quite fast. It is difficult to estimate its trajectory, but in front of us is clearly not a celestial luminary, and the movement of an incomprehensible luminous point. Something to ponder. Is it just me, or did something fly past a flotilla of military aircraft? Let's repeat it as many times as necessary to make sure, yes, there is a foreign flying object. This incident happened during the annual Fleet Week in the USAF, when the jets were doing a demonstration flight. A split second, and the light disc that flew between them might have gone unnoticed if it weren't for the cameras recording the show. Just consider how fast the planes were going, and then you'll be puzzled as to how some unidentified object flew a fly among them. How did it calculate its trajectory at that speed? You can repeat this video over and over again until your brain stops refusing to believe. There are much faster ships in the universe than Earth fighters. What if they are extraterrestrial hawks? The main thing is that their targets should not be turned against the Earthlings. The most active volcano in Mexico, with the unpronounceable Indian name of Popocatépetl, has always been under close observation, and thanks to this, cameras recorded an amazing event. A white cylindrical object headed straight towards the volcano and ended up diving into its vent. This happened in the year 2020, while most citizens were sitting at home unable to witness the amazing phenomena. It wasn't even the UFO's journey to Mexico that is of great curiosity, but its plunge into the blazing lava. The most courageous enthusiasts declared that it was an attempt by the USA to cause a volcanic eruption. But then, what is the object and how was it controlled? I don't have any theories. Maybe you can give me a clue. We're going to end this issue with some quite mundane stories, so that we don't remain captive to illusions. This episode is also filmed by an airplane passenger, but this time we observe an interesting effect. It seems that the airplane we see from the window is not moving, but frozen in the air. Have you ever experienced something like this? This phenomenon is called the parallax effect. When objects are moving at different speeds, the visual motion of one of them is not captured. In this case, the other airplane was quite close, so there was an illusion of its hovering. Sometimes the effect of deception of perception occurs when it seems to you that not a train is moving, but a platform. So don't believe your eyes. Physics sometimes jokes with us. But UFOs fly according to other principles, and these laws we have not studied yet. Let's get back to the most sensational story in aviation. Everyone remembers the infamous Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, a Malaysia Airlines Boeing that traveled from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing in 2014, but disappeared without a trace. A decade later, its mystery is still unsolved, insurance sums have not been paid, and the search has met with dubious success. However, there is evidence that during his flight, he encountered a bunch of flying balloons that swarmed around him like bees. Judging by this video, the hypothesis looks like this. The plane continues to fly, as if unaware of its fate, and at one point, suddenly, there is a semblance of an explosion. The plane disappears into a cloud. Many have expressed this opinion that it was abducted by aliens, and although the opinion is absurd, definitely, the theory is scary. Do you believe in this possibility? That someone could have stolen an entire flight from the sky? Then don't hesitate, grab your camera, and send us your incredible videos. Don't forget to clear your phone's memory before shooting. It would be a shame to miss the moment when a UFO appears in front of your house. That's all for today. If you enjoyed this episode and want to see something similar, or maybe the next installment, then give us a like, comment, subscribe to the Top Facts channel, and check out our previous top episodes right now.